Welcome to Digital Nation, your weekly jaunt around the best of local TV. Whether it's country dancing at the University of the Third Age or counting animals 2 by 2, we reveal the things you just don't see anywhere else. This week, we meet a design duo who use a new font for dyslexia sufferers. We explore and hear the equipment used by Welsh miners. And we go trampolining high up in Glasgow. Loving local? Then let us know what you think by using the hashtag #DigitalNation. How do you win a gold medal at boxing at next year's Olympics? With talent, grit, determination and self-belief, that's how. And Notts TV have found the right candidate. Working morning, noon and night, Echo has made Team GB and just needs to pace himself. We've got every faith he'll bring back something shiny.
By the time next summer's Olympics arrive, Echo Estuary will have been training for almost 10 years. At 26, he's still young for a fighter, and now for him, the prospect of fighting on the world stage is a big step towards turning pro.
Shortly after starting to box, I started beating people that were recognised within the England scene and the international scene, and that ultimately got me a looking at from the Team GB. At the tournament, it's going to be my platform to show the world my talent, and I'm really looking forward to that because I believe that I have a lot to show. I've got my qualifiers and I'm going to win them, and I'm going to get myself to the Olympics and medal.
Strong words, but a strong arm to match. It's a confidence which is reflected by that of his trainer.
When I'm saying all the way, I mean all the way. World champion, British title, everything. Every belt what's out there, I know he can do that.
That's the man who first took him under his wing at Bilborough Boxing Club, and if there's any danger of him not succeeding, it's because, believe it or not, he can train too hard.
Echo has the potential to get to the top, and I mean to the top. You know, his work ethic, his mindset, the way how he carries himself. He's always the first to turn up, always the last to leave. If you left it down to Echo, he'll be training morning, noon and night. And for a full-time athlete, it doesn't work because, you know, sooner or later, you'll break down.
There have been a lot of times when Ray has had to kick me out of the gym, tell me to rest. And I think sometimes I just get obsessed. My mind's always on the game, and I do stay focused.
Animal conservation is important business at Banham Zoo. And a key task is counting the animals, taking note of new arrivals, the departures and any unexpected visitors. Neil Perry from Mustard TV takes us through the tally, from lions to lorikeets.
Right, tigers. 1 and 2. Good, they're here. Camels, 3 of those, excellent. And apparently there should be 779 cockroaches in this case. Ugh. 1, 2, 3, 4. At times it's cute, at other times it's hard work, but as at the start of every year, keepers at Banham Zoo have begun to count their animals. It's just part of caring for their creatures.
Daily they will count the animals and make sure all the animals are healthy, and if they're not healthy then we can alert the veterinary team. It's good to sort of recap over the year how many births we've had, checking sort of the arrivals we've had over the year and reviewing it really.
Among those births, 2 Grevy's zebra foals. They appeared in July and take the zoo's tally of the rare animals to 5. Counting all these creatures is crucial to Banham's ongoing efforts. Not only is it a requirement of their licence, it also helps conservation campaigns that are going on across the world.
The keepers are very passionate about what they do. There are coordinators that manage certain species, so by being able to give them numbers of how many are in our zoo, then it enables them to run their captive breeding programmes and make sure that the populations within zoos are healthy.
Staff hope that the task of adding up all the animals will be completed by the end of the month. From the 5 lumbering giraffes to the 58 energetic lorikeets.
On Digital Nation, we love to find those emotional stories mixed with surprises and a heartwarming outcome. Young 3-year-old Emma surprised both the ambulance service and her family when she was able to call for help in a prompt and calm way, saving the day for both mother and baby brother George. No tears now. There's a happy ending.
Ambulance service, tell me exactly what's happened. Hello?
Mummy fell down a stair.
Your mummy fell down the stairs?
It's a call every parent hopes their child will never have to make. But when pregnant Caroline Buzzard fell down the stairs and was unconscious, it was her toddler Emma who saved the day.
Sorry, she's got a baby?
Yeah.
What's your name?
Emma.
Emma. How old are you, Emma?
3.
You're 3?
When I first answered the call, I heard a very young voice, and I heard her say, "Mummy fell down the stairs," so I immediately realised it was a child. So my first thought was, oh gosh, she's a very young child. I just kept talking to her, kept her calm, and got her to talk to her mum, just tell her mum that the ambulance was coming and to stay still. I got her to go and open the door, and she went off and she opened the door for the paramedics so they could come in. And then she sat back down with her mum, held her hand, gave her a cuddle, and just kept telling me, like, well, she would update me. So, is Mummy awake now, Emma? No, Mummy's asleep again. It did make me cry, actually, when I heard it back. Because at the time of taking the call, I think because I was so intent on getting the information and doing everything I needed to do, I sort of didn't go in as much, but to hear it back, yeah, it was quite emotional.
And if she hadn't have acted so quickly and calmly, the situation could have been much worse.
For me personally, I've never had a situation like this where you arrive at a scene and to our shock find that a 3-year-old saved the day. The outcome could have been far more serious for both mum and baby.
Clever Emma hadn't been taught how to call an ambulance, but had overheard what to do in an emergency.
We didn't actually explicitly teach Emma, it was actually Harry, her elder brother who's 5, that we were talking to about it. He'd been doing at school a topic on the emergency services and learning all about the fire and the police and the ambulances. The conversation was predominantly aimed at Harry around the dinner table, so clearly Emma was listening. From that we had no idea that Emma could even tell us what street she lived in, let alone the number and the town and the detail that she gave Sarah. So yeah, I mean, unfortunately the fall did put me into early labour, and the fact that she managed to get the ambulance there as quickly as she did and get me into the hospital and calm the situation, and they were able to stop the labour, meant that George was able to stay inside for a very precious extra 3 weeks. So I think if he'd have come early, at 7 weeks early, his story would have been very different. So yeah, I think the speed at which she was able to get some help there made a huge difference to us.
Next up, we go to Cardiff to meet conservation engineer Paul to find out some of the equipment used by Welsh miners. The Big Pit was a working coal mine from 1860 to 1980 and is now a national coal museum uncovering the way of life of the Welsh mining industries. Marie-Claire from Made in Cardiff finds out more.
Today I'm at Big Pit in Blaenavon, where they're currently running some tours called Engineering Exposed. And I'm very pleased to say I'm joined by Paul, who's going to talk us through some machines here. Paul, what have you got in front of you?
What I've got in front of me here are some machines that are used underground, compressed air operated machines. And out of the 3 machines were used underground to actually drill the holes into the coal and the rock, approximately 2 metres long. They'd fill it full of explosives and we'd fire it to blow it down. That's what was used to advance the tunnels underground.
Excellent. So what are we going to start with?
We're going to start with the coal boring machine. Like I said, this was used, it's very heavy, hand operated. It would be, the operator, the miner, would hold this here against his pelvic side by here and use this curly drill here into the end of the drill.
Wow, that obviously goes quite far in.
That's right. And he would physically use his body weight to drill the holes. No water on you, a lot of dust. It's quite a noisy machine. You ready? Okay.
Yeah. Wow, that's definitely noisy.
This one is too heavy to hold. It's called a rock borer, and you would use that with a machine, on an adapter machine called an air leg. It's like a piston. So you would use this to support the weight of it. The rod, this is the drill rod. It's a percussion drill, and it would be water infused as well to keep the dust down and to keep the drill bit cool. This is very noisy.
Even louder than the last one?
Much louder than the last one. I'll put my ear protectors on for this one. You ready?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I think I'm deaf. And that underground must be even worse.
Yes, and there would usually be 2 of them drilling a series of holes.
So what do you do when you're retired or semi-retired? Your daily responsibilities have eased off a bit and you've got a fit body in a mine needing soulful activity. You join the University of the Third Age for a spot of country dancing, amongst many other activities. I personally can't wait. Roll on the Third Age.
Here at the All Saints Church in Sherburn in Elmont, the U3A are hosting one of many events which encourage older people to dive back into education. They take a progressive attitude of teaching not just the mind, but also the body.
U3A it stands for University of the Third Age, which sounds a bit off-putting, but it's not really. The university bit just means everybody coming together. The third age is the age when you're no longer in full-time employment and hopefully you don't have too many parental or grandparental duties. So you've got time on your hands, especially during the daytime, and we're mostly retired people, but semi-retired is fine as well. They can join us. It's just people that have a thirst for knowledge, a thirst for enjoying life, and that want to make lots of friends and do things.
Country dancing runs to a rich score of folk tunes handed down through the ages.
The caller, who's Tom, a friend of mine, and we've known for many years, we both do country dancing, or folk dancing as it's often called. He has started a group in Barnsley, U3A. I said, let's start one in the Sherburn and Villages one, and the numbers have climbed and we've got a regular clientele, which is good.
That brings us to the end of part 1, which means it's quiz time. Which UK city is known as the birthplace of modern America? Is it A, Liverpool, B, Belfast, or C, Bristol? Join us in part 2 for the answer. Welcome back to part 2 of Digital Nation. Before the break, we asked you, which UK city is known as the birthplace of modern America? And the answer is C, Bristol. The port of Bristol was the location of several early expeditions to America. In 1497, John Cabot helped discover the continent by sailing from Bristol to North America, although the Norse Vikings had set foot on American soil about 500 years earlier. Each week, the local TV channels bring you the daily news from around their cities. Guy Lloyd's 2-minute telly show goes one step further and brings you the news from the streets of Brighton, direct from the horse's mouth, i.e. the people of Brighton. Hospital appointments, holidays, emotional turbulence. Guy goes out and gets the gossip.
What's your news? What's going on in your world?
What's going on in my world?
Yeah, come on. Give us some gossip.
It's raining, it's miserable, but it's okay because I'm off to Australia in a few days.
You're going to Australia?
Yeah.
Wow.
I've just had back surgery, is that?
You've had back surgery. Yeah. Tell us about that. What happened?
In London, I had to have about 6 weeks ago. So recovering, hopefully going back to work soon.
Are you just staying in one place, though? Are you going to move around and see stuff?
No, I see a bit of stuff. Going into Cairns and then Sydney, then Tasmania, then Melbourne, then Adelaide, then over to Hong Kong and then back.
Amazing. How did you do your back injury in the first place?
A long time ago at work when I was working for a bank. And unfortunately it's never really healed and I've had continued problems ever since. So.
Were you trying to lift a heavy load of money, perhaps steal it?
I wish.
Just come back from holiday.
Where did you go?
Kenya.
Lovely. First time?
No, second time there.
Okay. How was it?
Fine, sun shone and it was all very nice.
Hello ladies, have you got 10 seconds to talk to us? We're just asking people about their news.
What news?
Have you got any news?
No, I have no news.
Nothing happening in your life at all that you want to share?
No, something happened, but I don't want to share it.
What happened?
I'm getting divorced, so I don't want to...
You're getting divorced? Oh. So pleased to get rid of him.
You've heard of dyslexia, but have you heard of Dyslexia? The new font created for people with dyslexia to ease their difficulties with reading, writing and spelling. Well, these two product designers in Lancashire have not only heard of the font, but have been actively making products to put the font to its best use.
An estimated 10% of children in the UK are living with dyslexia.
The disorder is a common learning difficulty that can cause problems with reading, writing and spelling. And here at Leximouse, they've utilised a new font named Dyslexia that is set to make life a little easier for those living with dyslexia.
It's been designed by a Dutch designer called Dr. Christian Boer. He's dyslexic himself, so he developed the font to make it as a learning aid for children and adults as well, to make reading easier. It's not a cure-all for dyslexia, but it just makes reading much more comfortable for people who struggle to read.
The typeface, which is named Dyslexia, is a revolutionary font, and research among many dyslexics has shown that the design actually helps them to read text faster and with fewer errors.
It's designed so that the words don't actually move about on the page. This is one of the big problems with dyslexic people reading, mainly reading, is that the fonts move about all over the page. It's to do with colour, it's to do with size, and it's to do with the shape of the font. It's fatter at the bottom, so the words don't actually move off the page. They all actually stay where they are. There's a lot of gapping in between them, so it's easier for dyslexic people to pin down a line of text.
The font is adaptable and it can be used in any language.
Let's head over to Liverpool to meet Kate, a glass designer, to find out how stained glass creations are made. As with any beautiful creation, it all starts out with an idea, followed up with some skill and dedication, a flair for colour, and being careful with sharp edges also helps.
Kate Bays is a stained glass artist based in Liverpool. Her new exhibition, Far Out at Sea, is opening at Liverpool Cathedral on the 23rd of January.
I started when I was looking after my children. We had been living in London and I had 3 small children, basically under 5. And we moved to High Wycombe, and Paul, my husband, agreed that he would always be in one night a week so that I could go out and do something, because I had just looked in the adult education classes, right, and I saw it was listed.
Take us through the process, because how does it start? You have the glass that is already coloured then?
Yes, I buy the glass that's already made, and there are some very good machine glasses that have got quite, interesting pieces of sort of movement within them because of the colours. So what is really important is getting a flow of an idea. So pastels are brilliant for flowing. So I start with that. And that, you can see, is very free and very loose, but it just gives me a sense of the basic shape of what I want to create. This is the panel I'm working on at the moment.
Right.
As you can see, there are crosses, so I put crosses if I cut the piece to let me know. Now I've got a few pieces that I could show you the pieces all together.
This looks funny. It looks like a puzzle. Really.
It is like a puzzle. It is.
It's not just a united kingdom, it's a truly creative kingdom. And here's why.
The United Kingdom has a plethora of names for its local townsfolk. There's Cockneys, Brummies, Manx, Mackhams and Ouijays. But why do we call people from Liverpool Scousers? Well, you can thank the sailors of Norway, Germany and Latvia, who descended upon the port town in the 18th century and demanded their favourite stew, made of cheap cuts of meat, carrots, onion and potato. Consequently, the poshest of the Northwest started calling Liverpudlians Scousers as an insult, but the locals started to wear it as a badge of honour. Because when it comes to creativity, innovation and stirring the pot of history, it Liverpool mint.
The Guildhall in Portsmouth was built in the late 1800s, but World War II saw the bombing of this fine building. 75 years ago, the neo-classical building was sadly gutted, and a long restoration took place. Young students in Portsmouth are paying homage to the building by reenacting the time of the Blitz in Project 75.
The night of January 10th. At around 7 p.m, the Luftwaffe took to the skies and unleashed the full fury of its anger on At its centre, the remains of a building became the symbol of the city's treatment. The then 51-year-old Guildhall was left nothing more than a smoking shell. To commemorate the 75th anniversary of that night, 400 schoolchildren who are all studying the Blitz this year visited the Guildhall for an emotive dramatisation about life at the time.
It was when my neighbour got blown up in her own house hiding with her kids. I thought, I'm not going like that. I'm going to do something.
The production's director, Ben Claiborne, explained why taking time to remember those horrific events is so important.
Even though it's a close story to Portsmouth, we all think that actually to remember and respect those people that did lose their lives during this time away and locally, you know, from the bombings and from trying to put fires out and put bombs out. I think for us it's a really important day. They're real people and they're true stories.
For every person that fell in the actual war, another person died in the city as well, so it's important to remember that side of things as well.
The rebuilding of the Guildhall to the one we know today was completed in 1959, when it was reopened by Her Majesty the Queen.
I congratulate all who took part in its planning and in its construction. My husband and I know how much it means to you, and we wish success to you and the citizens of Portsmouth in all their future endeavours. My Lord Mayor, it is with very real pleasure that I declare this Guildhall open.
And finally, we head over to Glasgow to find out just how great exercise trampolining really is. And it's for all ages, whether you're 7 or 77. Not only is it great fun, it also can be taken to a whole new level, with a bit of performance and star ability. Now I'm just off to practice my star jumps.
When we first opened, we weren't really sure what we were going to be doing numbers-wise, etc. But since we've opened up, there's been just an immense, attraction to East Kilbride and to airspace and the facility that we've created here.
And what do you think is the appeal of the trampoline?
I think it's an urban playground that there was nothing there when we opened up. The things that we offer here, especially the performance area behind us here, we're the only trampoline park in Scotland that have a performance area. So if you are a trampolinist, this is the place you want to come. I think the oldest jumper we've had on is a 77-year-old gentleman. So from 10-year-old that we've allowed in so far up.
How have you seen your own trampolining progress?
Well, I pretty much live in the building, so yeah, I have seen a lot of my progression, yeah. I've learnt a lot in the last couple of months myself and put some routines together, potentially for use in performance one day.
Louise, in terms of fitness, how good is trampolining for keeping you active?
Oh, trampolining is amazing. It's very physical, it works every muscle in your body, it's a lot of cardio.
And that completes our roundup of regional telly. If our stories have inspired you, then don't forget there's more you can see on the local TV channels' websites. Or why not catch up on previous episodes of the show by visiting bbc.co.uk/Digital Nation. So until next week, goodbye.